Thank you, Chairman Royce and Ranking Member Engel, for holding this hearing. I think for many Americans, Russia is confusing because there's so many things going on. So I thought it'd be helpful to just boil it down to just three things. We do know that Russia launched a massive cyber attack last year, an influence campaign to undermine faith in the U.S. democracy, help Trump win, hurt Secretary Clinton. It's an unclassified intelligence report that anybody can go on Google and read. I read the classified intelligence report. I went through classified briefings, and I can say, from my perspective as a computer science major, there is clear and convincing evidence to support the conclusions of the unclassified report. So we have the Russian attack on America. Second thing we have is we have now these numerous covert meetings between Trump campaign officials and the Russians that they had lied about having. And Ambassador Bloomfield, I did read the Rolling Stone article. It is true there's a lot of smoke. We don't know what was said in those meetings. It is possible in all these secret meetings they were talking about the lovely weather in America. It's possible they were not. The third thing we do know is we also perhaps have a motive for why there would be collusion, which has to do with massive global business holdings of the President of the United States. He may have business holdings in Russia. Why do we not know if he does or doesn't? Because he doesn't release his tax returns. That's deeply disturbing. When the framers of the Constitution set up our Constitution, they put in Article 1, Section 9, Clause 8, called the Emoluments Clause, that says you can't have foreign conflicts of interest that result in payments or gifts because they viewed foreign influence as one of the greatest dangers to our republic. So Ambassador Baer, I want to ask you, when you were ambassador and had these 50 different countries, were you ever worried about the President's business interests or what other interests the President might have in relation to those countries?
I only served as ambassador under President Obama, and I had no concerns about President Obama's business interests.
If you were ambassador today, would you find it concerning if the current President of the United States had massive undisclosed business interests in Russia?
I think it is in the interest of the President of the United States to have as much confidence as possible from the American people, and I think the release of tax returns is something that past presidents have done uniformly in an effort to demonstrate the transparency and the sincerity of their commitment to the to the tasks of the office rather than to any other interests.
Thank you. I've always believed that where there is smoke, there is fire, and there is a lot of smoke right now, which is why I joined my colleagues in a call for a 9/11 style bipartisan commission to look at the Trump-Russia ties. I also joined my colleague who's Republican from San Diego, as well as other colleagues here who are Democrats, and calling for a special prosecutor. Something also happened this last weekend that I find enormously, deeply disturbing. President Trump, who has access to the highest levels of intelligence, told the American public that Trump Tower was wiretapped. What that means is that U.S. intelligence officials believed that agents of a foreign power were at Trump Tower. It also means an independent FISA court judge appointed by Chief Justice Roberts sat there, reviewed the evidence, and concluded there was probable cause to believe agents of a foreign power were at Trump Tower. That is what Donald Trump's tweet means. So I take President Trump at his word, and I join Senator Lindsey Graham in requesting investigations and documents into this issue, because the American public needs to know, why would U.S. officials and an independent judge believe there were agents of foreign power at Trump Tower? So this issue of collusion is so threatening to our republic. We can't just sort of hide this under the rug. And it also has real life and death consequences. Just today, we learned that the President of the United States, with no debate in Congress, sent additional conventional ground troops to Syria to help assault a city, Raqqa. This is a huge escalation of war in Syria now that we're using conventional ground forces. What if these U.S. troops run into the Russians? What is our policy? What are we going to do? What is our end state in Syria, where there are Russians sitting there who have a different view than in the U.S.? The administration has articulated no strategy. So not only do we have possible collusion, we have actions that are going to directly confront Russia, and it's time for the President and this administration to come clean. I yield back.